So when I made that video about your Ride Like the Wind solo, how did you hear about that?
Well, I think I just told you that I got more hits or whatever you call people getting in touch with me. The only thing that competed with that was when I was mentioned on Seinfeld. But I just got inundated by all these people sending because your reach is huge, and everybody's sending me this thing. I was, frankly, really shocked because I never ever gave it a bit of thought. And then when I saw you do it, which was amazing, I went, oh, okay, I guess I kind of see that, that maybe. But, we were going for a wall of sound. The strings, McDonald.
Yeah.
It was a wall of sound kind of thing. But I will tell you that, my first album, I had Larry.
Yep.
I had Graydon.
Yep.
I had Eric Johnson. Mm-hmm. So I was pretty intimidated. So, I probably wasn't looking to push up my solo particularly because, you're in that crowd. And actually, I think it was later on, it was Larry and Luke probably that really encouraged me to kind of play more on my own records. But yeah, so maybe it's all that, but I never gave it a thought.
I was talking to my brother John, my younger brother, who's a guitar player. I talked to him this morning actually, and told him that you were coming in. But that morning when I made that video, and I talked about seeing this guy do a reaction video to it, and I said, that solo. He's like, yeah, it's way too low. That's such a great solo and everything. So then about an hour later, I call him back and said, I found the tracks to this thing.
Yeah, I wonder where you got
what?
those.
I was like, yeah, I found the tracks. It was on a hard drive somewhere. Check it out. And then I played it over the phone for him, just a solo by itself. He's like, that's amazing. You need to make that video. I said, yeah, I'm going to make the video right now. I was so psyched.
I got to say, I was impressed by myself. When you soloed it, and I was like, but it was actually pretty good.
Okay, wait, what were you playing through? I have so many questions. What were you playing through then?
I thought about that because if you do, 59 Les Paul.
Okay.
Directly into an overdrive special, Dumble. No pedals.
You can tell the amp is cranked. You can tell it's really,
And that just straight in 59 into the overdrive special.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I would encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get better guests and help continue to grow both of these channels. Thank you. Okay, how much of the arrangement?
Put the 4 on the floor.
Okay, so how much of the arrangement was done?
Listen to the box, it was. I always say in the box set notes, I said the meat of it was there.
Yeah.
The arrangement is just like that. Michael, of course, plays amazing, but the string arrangements are the big thing.
Yes.
But the arrangement was the same. We were doing it live like that with such a long way to go and all that. So it was pretty much that way.
But the pocket of it is so good. Everything about it is just.
Well, Marty put the 4 on the floor, which really helped, and then we had Lenny Castor, of course, playing.
Yes.
It was a glue in that with the bongos, the congas we didn't have. So, and then the strings. That's another thing. Not a lot of people were doing things with strings like that. And I've been a big string guy, so Marty's a great arranger. So, I continue to. Even my last record, all real strings. So, but yeah, it was a.
Okay, so wait, so the track is done. Michael McDonald's in the studio that you guys are in, the same recording in a different room, and then you said, let's just get him to come and sing on this.
Well, it was later. He came in. We were doing it really don't know anymore, so he came in and sang on that, and then
that has a more exposed vocal part on it.
Right, we were working on this song. We had the part, and we thought, boy, McDonald would sound great doing this. So we called him, and he came down again and did that too. So yeah, but he did on really don't know anymore as well. So, and he's like Eric. He's sung on tons of my records over the years. So yeah, that was. Well, and Crosby always said, Mike has the voice everybody wants, But it's interesting, I saw your thing where it was a Stairway to Heaven, you got different people playing the solo.
Yeah.
And a girl...
Eric played on it. Eric Johnson.
Yeah, and somebody called me and said, you should do that. I said, well, I think the company's fine the way it is. But yeah, Ride Like the Wind, it'd be interesting, hearing if Luke or somebody else played on that.
I'm going to do it.
What's interesting, though, is I think I told you that I did it with Frank Zappa in New York, and Frank asked me to come sit in with him. And I couldn't because I was busy, things were crazy then. I had to go leave town. And then 2 weeks later, I get a cassette in the mail that says Zappa Wind, and Frank played Ride Like the Wind at his show with Al Di Meola. And it's one of the things I treasure. But Frank and Al pretty much solo over the whole thing. I think Frank has this wah-wah and Al's playing. But it was still cool. But yeah, it's really fun over C minor. It's a great thing to solo over. I'm sure that Luke and those guys would tear it up. And I think that was a big thrill too. When I did the second record, Toto was the rhythm section, Arthur, a lot of that stuff, and it was a thrill to have Luke come and play. Clearly, it's unbelievable. Jeff and the guys, but a solo went all right that Luke did. I learned it. In good nights, I can pull it off. there's one real fast part. And they came to Japan. Toto came to my show in Japan. It was like, great, he's out there now. It's kind of like Carlton with the Kid Charlemagne thing.
Right.
The Erics, it's funny, the Carlton stuff, forget about it. The light is on, I just do what I do. And then the Eric solos, forget about it.
Yeah.
No way I can play that fast.
You just do your own thing.
I have to, because it's like...
He's some fast, his solo on, has some kind of Eric licks where he does the
pentatonic stuff. Yeah, well, it's
the
great the way
super
you played Ride Like the Wind. And I saw you do Kid Charlemagne. It's amazing the way you can do that. But yeah, the Eric stuff, I can play it slowed down possibly, but yeah, he's just ridiculous, his technique. So, but anyway, Luke that was a thrill having him come play on stuff. So, and those guys were just so much fun too, especially that day, But yeah, so I think Ride Like the Wind, it's just, again, I
Wait
think
a minute, hold on,
we're in the right place at the right time with that record.
Okay, playing with those guys, with these great players, it's got to be so fun to see them record their parts, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the second record I used Gadd and Abel Burrell Sr., which was unbelievable.
Come on.
Yeah, and usually I'm playing on the rhythm dates, so it's a thrill. Like I was telling you that I'm touring right now, and I have a great bench of guys. Right now, Keith Carlock's out with me, with Steely Dan. Travis Carlton he had to leave, but he was on the early part of the tour. So I'm very fortunate to have these amazing, Mitch Foreman plays with me sometimes, amazing players. And it's a thrill every night to get up there and hear what they do, because they're virtuosos. And that's part of what I love about. And much like Joan, I tried to grow with my career. The music got more sophisticated, especially lyrically, and it got more sophisticated, and I brought in better players, and I tried to, like Steely, and tried to emulate Asia and all that. And it's funny because when Hejera came out and she turned that corner, she lost a lot of people,
Yeah.
from the folk thing.
Yeah.
But for me, I love
that's
Blue.
one of my favorite records of hers.
Yeah, me too, and I love Blue and all that, but I mean, to me, when she got Majako and started doing that, I think I remember one time saying something to her about how I've basically modeled my career completely after her, and she said, yeah, well, in some areas that might be a mistake. But I did that where I've tried to grow and every time get more sophisticated. And a lot of it's based on sort of the Asia thing, where you just get great players and let them bring that jazz influence to the music. It's not like it's jazz, but it's harmonic enough for them to,
Yeah, they have to have something to work with there, and you had the structures with your songs that would warrant having those players to do, to give them something to really work with.
Yeah, and I haven't rehearsed in 25 years. Everything's charted, and I have a book of 100 charts, and they're really roadmaps. I want them to interpret the chords and stuff the way they want. And every guy brings a different thing to it, but it's great too, not having to rehearse. It's like this guy who's out right now, Mark Stevens, who I hadn't met, but he plays with Larry. Travis recommended him. He's crazy great, And I can pretty much, if I get a referral from somebody, like a Will Lee or somebody, they show up and they're great. So, been very lucky to play with some incredible people.
Let's talk about your favorite Steely Dan tracks, because you're wearing a Steely Dan Asia t-shirt here. If I had to say, give me your top 5 Steely Dan songs, what are they?
I'd probably say Any Major Dude would be high up there. Home at Last. And a lot of these are based, musically, but lyrically.
Yeah.
Home at Last. Third World Man, because of Larry Solo.
Larry Solo, yeah. I think that was actually wasn't that a leftover track from the previous record?
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing some rumors about that. But and I heard, this is true, but I think I was telling you to mention that there was, at some point, Katz made some overture about me playing on something, and I think, could be wrong, but I think the track they were possibly considering me for is Third World Man. And I'm like, so glad, thank God there is a God, and he didn't have me play on that record.